Good morning. Today I'm in a 2000 Toyota MR2 Spyder. Oh my god! Oh my god! The MR2 Spyder is the third generation of Toyota's midship runabout two-seater. It comes with a 1.8-liter four-cylinder engine called the 1ZZ FE, and you can either come in a 5-speed manual or a 6-speed sequential manual automatic transmission. It's basically a sequential manual transmission with a clutch that's electronically controlled by a computer. The MR2 that I'm in today has a 2ZZ engine swap and a 6-speed manual transmission, so a little bit more performance than a stock example, but a great OEM plus bump up in power. The 2000 MR2 Spyder weighs just over 2,000 pounds, somewhere around 21 to 2,200 pounds, so we're in the same range as like a Del Sol or a Miata or a Honda Fit even. So the first MR2 came into existence because gas prices were getting high and people still wanted a fun car to commute to and work. So Toyota created the AW11 that is still a rear mid-engine, rear-wheel drive, four-cylinder, great car for gas, great to commute, and still has that nice snappy feel to it that people wanted. And Toyota really wanted to hone in on the lightweight rear-wheel drive fun of that car and still make it affordable for the everyday person to commute to work in. So the second generation MR2, which is most frequently known as the people's favorite, it got a good bump up in power as it got a turbo and it became a little bit more rowdy. People call it the poor man's Ferrari. However, this is kind of the opposite of what Toyota really wanted to do with the MR2 name. It became heavier, more complicated, a little more dangerous, a lot more expensive, less reliable. So for the third generation, they kind of wanted to take a step back to what they originally intended this car for. A reliable, lightweight, fun, two-seater sports car. The cars of the similar year that people may be looking at if they're looking at MR2s, so I would say they're its competitor, would be like an NB Miata, a Porsche Boxster, maybe an S2000 if the budget was up a little bit, Honda Del Sol, maybe a BMW Z3. These are all lightweight, two-seater sports cars that, you know, could be reliable everyday drivers. So we're gonna find out how this car kind of stacks up against those cars. I can't speak for everyone that I just named, but I have driven a good amount of them. So right from the beginning, let's get right into the interior. Let me express what I see on the inside. So this is a very unique styled interior. It feels like a spaceship, and I think the outside of the car kind of looks like an alien. So it feels like an alien kind of thing going on here, and I kind of like it. The door cards, they have these, looks like metal bars, like tube bars going on that you might find inside of a spaceship. You have the signature Toyota perforations all over all of the leather and whatever material it's made of. It looks like it may be plastic. The OEM gauge cluster is very nice. It's a white face with a black and red coloring to it. It looks very good, very easy to read. I really appreciate that the tachometer is straight in the middle. I find that sometimes it's really annoying when the speedo is in the middle and the tachometer is on the side, and I feel like what I really want to focus on is the tachometer. The owner of this one has an aftermarket tachometer from Apexi, and that's because of the engine swap. It revs out a bit higher than the OEM cluster can show. And looking at the rest of the interior, it feels kind of like square and boxy, but in a great way where there feels like there's a lot of space. You sit in a Miata and you're kind of like in a cockpit almost. This one feels like almost Honda Fit-ish, where there's a lot of space down near your legs, and that's probably because nothing is really running from the front to the back or the firewall to the back like in a front engine rear-wheel drive car. You'd have the transmission tunnel and all that kind of stuff. This has kind of like a lower floor design, and it feels great. It feels spacious. It does have the two little cubbies behind the two seats for storage. The front has the spare tire in it, and there's not a lot of space to put anything. You can't fit a suitcase in there. The trunk, there is no actual storage space in the trunk. It's just the engine. So this really doesn't have any space if two people wanted to go on a vacation and put two suitcases in it. Other than that, it feels pretty spacious in here. I don't feel like I'm cramped, and it feels very comfortable. The seats are a basic leather material. They're shaped pretty well. They're not super bolstered, so they're relatively comfortable. The steering wheel in front of me is pretty nice design. It's not in great shape, but if you did get one in good shape, it feels good in terms of position and how those edges lock in your thumbs. That feels pretty nice, and I like that there's no buttons on it. It's very simple. There's not too much to think about. It's just your steering wheel. To the side of the steering wheel, we actually have the window and door lock and unlock. You have your dash dimming switch, and a slot for coins, as well as your mirror adjustment. In the center console, we have the climate controls, which feel very nice. They have a nice click to them, very analog. I love that feel in a car when the climate control feels analog. You have 2 cup holders down here near the shifter that kind of come and pop down. And then you have an ashtray and the rest of the stuff. So the outside of the car kind of has this bug feeling. You know, it has the headlights and taillights that kind of feel like a bug or an alien. Something that I really like about the exterior is that it has the vents behind the doors, and that's for the intake and just for general cooling, I'm assuming. I think this car looks amazing, and a lot of people will disagree with me. I think that the MR2S or the MRS is a very underrated car in terms of looks. I think maybe factory, they don't look great, but once you start, you know, you lower them, maybe you get one of those hardtops that you can put on it, and you do a little bit of aero mods, you know, side skirts, flip, whatever, I think they look fantastic. I think they look great. So without further ado, let's get driving in the MR2 Spyder. So this car has upgraded suspension. It's got coilovers, bracing, it's stiff. It's kind of built to be more on the race car side than the daily driver side. So right off the bat, it's pretty easy to drive. It feels like a normal car. There's not really much drone. It sounds pretty good. So one thing to always be careful of in these cars is snap oversteer, and that pretty much just happens if you're turning and you let off the gas too quickly. The car will kick around on you because it's actually rear heavy. It's a 58-42 weight distribution. But as long as you let go of the gas smoothly, it's not an issue. And they especially refined that in this 3rd generation. The throttle is very responsive, which is really nice. It does have electronic power steering. And surprisingly, a front-mounted radiator. I don't know if that's surprising or not, but it was to me. Doesn't feel all too peppy. You know, it's got a little, it's a 4-cylinder and it kind of feels like one. So far there's lots of noise in the cabin. The exhaust isn't bad, it really doesn't drone much. It's such a short exhaust, which is so strange that it doesn't sound so loud. The 6-speed that's in here has a very notchy shifter in it, which personally I kind of like something a little bit smoother. If I'm going to be daily driving a car, of course, if you're on the track, like maybe you'd prefer a short shifter. Other than that, it feels comfortable enough to drive. I like all the space near the legs. You know, that's something that maybe people have trouble with in a Miata is leg room. I think that there's actually a good bit more leg room in this car. You know what's actually funny about the soft top in this car is that I'm pretty sure the latches are the exact same part number as the latches in a Miata. They look and feel identical and they connect in the exact same way. It's got decent little pickup. I haven't hit the VTEC yet because these have crazy VTEC, the 2ZZ at least. The 1ZZ in the actual stock MR2 doesn't have that 2ZZ VTEC. All right, let's feel this VTEC. Oh my God! Oh my God! What? It's like a different engine is in there. Like, what? I don't know if you heard that, but it sounds like there's literally at 6,200 RPM, like it just changes engine. Like, what? And it actually kicks you a little bit. That was so crazy. What? That's so surprising. I can't even like get myself to keep doing it because it's so high up in the RPM, and it's like you only get it for so long, for like you only get it for like 2,000 RPMs. So like, what's the practicality really of having that? But whoa, that's like a rocket ship. So real quick, if you're actually in the market for one of these, I did a little bit of research on these cars and what to look out for when you are buying them, and it seems like the only main big problem is the pre-cats. And these cars have catalytic converters that tend to get clogged up or they get sucked back into the engine, and it causes premature catastrophic failure. So I'd say if you're looking at one, make sure it was either taken care of or if the cats were even deleted. that will probably solve your issue, or be wary of it. If you buy one, you might want to do some preventative maintenance for it. Oh my God. I think if I owned one of these, I wouldn't stop like hitting VTEC. That's so crazy. It gets so loud. And it really feels so planted to the, I haven't even felt like I needed to like panic or anything. It feels very connected to the ground. It feels like a little go-kart. It's so fun. Oh yeah, I actually felt a little bit of that right there. Got off the gas a little too quick while you're turning. It really like rotates around on you. You can kind of utilize that though. Definitely something to be careful of when driving one of these. They hook pretty good though. Like when you're on gas, it hooks pretty nice. Wow, what a freaking riot. It's just a weird alien car in an alien world. This car, in the right hands, would feel like a fantastic car, but if it's just a normal person, it might just feel like a regular daily driver. So I think it really depends on the style in which you're driving, of your experience with the car, because there are some cars out there that just simply always feel like a sports car. You drive a Porsche GT3, it's gonna always feel like you're racing somewhere, you know, but you drive an MR2 and it's like you kind of have a choice between getting your daily driver or your sports car. You can kind of pick between the two. You feel it. You definitely feel it. You feel the kick around a little bit. It's a little scary. It's you know, it's not snap oversteer, but I definitely feel a little bit of lift off oversteer. Not that the car was really oversteering to any degree, but in terms of responsiveness, how it responds to my inputs, you can definitely tell that it's different than an FR car. So I guess the question is, should you buy an MR2 Spyder, or should you buy one of these over one of its competitors like a Miata, a Boxster, a Del Sol, an S2000, whatever it may be? And honestly, I think it comes down to what you prefer. If you want something that's more of a driver's car than a dailyable car, I would say this is a little bit more of an edge on that. I think the Miata has a little bit better edge when it comes to being a reliable, a practical, I should say, daily driver, as it has a trunk and some decent space in that trunk, so you can actually put your groceries somewhere. But I think that in this car, you're kind of forced more into the sports car category than the daily driver category. And if that's something that you're okay with or something that you want, I would say, hell, go for it. I know there are people that daily drive these cars, and it's very possible to do so. It's not an impossible task. You have to just find creative ways to take you and your spouse's luggage to the airport. And at the same time, you get a very reliable, very nicely designed interior of a car, and I think they're a little bit underrated, so the price on them is very good, and I wouldn't be surprised if the insurance is relatively affordable. So guys, tell me, would you buy an MR2 Spyder? Is it something you're in the market for right now? I'm sure there's a million things that I've missed in this video, because every car has so many aspects to it and such a involved, diverse culture behind every car. So please leave in the comments if I've really missed something important about this car. Otherwise, I love this car. Would I buy one? Honestly, I was shopping for them not long ago, and I'm gonna keep it honest, I'm glad that I went with a Miata instead of an MR2. And I think that's just because of the ease of working on it, the practical setup of having an actual trunk, and overall I think that I just feel a little bit more at ease without the dark passenger of snap oversteer in my mind when I'm driving it or going around corners, you know? I think that it's something that you have to get used to if you're planning to drive this car in a, you know, a sporty sense. But I feel like once you master it, you kind of have an edge on the rest of drivers if you're doing any kind of like toge racing, or if you're on a track or autocross. It's definitely a double-edged sword where it can bite you or you can use it to your advantage. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't thank you enough. I really hope you guys would give me a subscribe or like. It's free. I appreciate it. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subs, but leave in the comments what car you want me to drive next, or if you have any cars that you want me to drive, I'll come out to you and let's shoot a video. Thanks so much, and peace.